Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Stacked Labs. I hope you all are healthy, happy, doing well today on what is a pretty dark day, I guess, around the world with what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. So we have a very exciting show for you guys today. We have George, Andy, and Shawn from Colton Ring coming up. And I told them I wanted to talk really briefly kind of into the camera for a couple of reasons before we got started here. You guys know that the name of this show has been Stacked Labs, and it has been since I started streaming a year ago. StackedInvest.com is a company based in Chicago, and the CEO of Stacked is Joel Birch. Joel and I worked together 10, 11 years ago at this point. And I've seen him grow, build this company, which is now a company that has a several $100 million valuation, and they're doing crazy things, and they're building. And I'm very excited to see what they're going to do. The reason why I'm telling you this, where I usually don't, is a large portion of the development team for Stacked resides in the Ukraine. Okay. So you hear about this stuff on TV, and it's not exactly, you're like, all right, I don't know anything. I don't know how that's, that doesn't affect my life at all, but you'd be surprised the people in the space and where they are around the world. So before we get into our show with the Colton Ring guys, which is going to be amazing. Okay. They're doing something which I think is what is needed for the space and pushes everything forward. I just want to say that I myself, certainly the guys on the call will talk about this too. Our thoughts and prayers are with our teammates, in the Ukraine, and everybody over there, whether they're related to us or not, to be safe. And our thoughts and prayers are with you. So with that, let me pull in our guests. And here they are. We have George, Andy, and Shawn from Colton Ring. Guys, welcome to the program. How are you?
Fantastic. Doing great, man. Doing great. Thanks for having us, Jay.
Yeah, of course. So you guys see here, you go, well, why are these guys in rectangle boxes with square, I'm using a new program. Okay. It looks good. They're all super pretty guys. I couldn't make them larger than me on the screen or else it'd take away from my brand awareness. So that's why the formatting's a little bit off. But I want to talk about Colton Ring, and I want to talk about the crypto markets in general. But first and foremost, guys, how I usually start this is explaining a little bit about Stacked Labs and like what this show is designed to do. Is that all right?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay, so I look at this, and the reason why I started this show to begin with was to say I'm a retail investor. I'm someone who likes crypto and wants to see where things are going. So I sort of position myself as like the normie we just had somebody drop.
Yeah, I think Andy might have got rugged. I'm sure.
Andy might have got rugged. Well, that kind of screws up my formatting here. But let's see if we can get things sorted out. He's coming back. We'll try it again. Boom. Now you guys are just in different spaces. That's all right. Welcome back. Sorry. I need to rearrange where you guys are on screen, but that's okay. You got rugged. Okay. Let me see. Watch me live edit. There we go. Pull you there. And pull you there. And we're back. Okay. You guys, if you're watching on Stacked, you'll know what I just did. But or on Twitch, you'll know what I just did. But anyway, we're back. The idea here is to take new cutting edge things and break them down, make them easier to understand for people who are maybe just getting into the space. don't know as much. But what I like to do first is who are the people behind them. So we'll go what is now left to right and start with George and then go George, Andy, Shawn. If you could give a little bit of a background on yourself, a minute, and then crypto, how you got into crypto initially, just so people have a background before we start this conversation. So George, if you wouldn't mind kicking us off, that'd be great.
Absolutely, man. First off, thank you, Jared, for inviting us. So my name is George. I'm the founder of Colton Rain. A little bit about my background. I've been a creative fashion director for the past 18 years. Okay, I've worked as a designer, as a fashion designer across New York, Milan, and Paris, and kind of decided to start this new adventure trying to merge a luxury fashion brand within Web3 to kind of bridge both worlds with the team assembled from, let's say, luxury fashion executives to entertainment executives, and also tapping into, obviously, technology executives within Web3 as well. So, yeah, that's a little bit about my background. I've classified myself as American international, I guess. I grew up in Taipei. I've lived in the U.S. I spent the past 10 years in Europe. And I'm glad to be back home in New York, okay, where Colton Rain is, let's say, based. We have an amazing team assembled, and we have an amazing story to tell. So thanks for inviting us, man.
Yeah. No, that was great. Great background, too. Your background is so fascinating to me. When we first started talking, I was like, oh, my God. This is just me and my buddies throwing out an NFT. This guy's got a real background. Okay. Andy, if you wouldn't mind going next and kind of give us a little bit of your background.
Yeah, 100%. My name is Andy. I run the marketing communications here at Colton Rain. My background is pretty similar to George in the sense that I've been in the fashion industry for 25 years plus. I started my career with Ermenegildo Zegna. I was in London working for them and also splitting my time between Milan. Following Zegna, I went to Diesel. I ran northern Scandinavia and also England, the UK. So I did that for 5 years and also worked at the headquarters on all of the creative and campaigns in the final year, which is an amazing experience and an incredible brand. I also had a time at Maison Margiela during that period too for a year. Following Diesel, I moved out to Los Angeles. I was CMO at 7 for Mankind. It was under the VF umbrella at the time and had an incredible kind of ride. Also just living in California, leaving the European winters and summers behind and going for eternal sunshine. And then for following 7, I had some time with the North Face and Vans. I moved back to New York. I actually worked again with the Diesel family and the family that runs all of the brands for Diesel on North and South America. Did that for another 3 years to kind of rejuvenate the brand. And then most recently before Colton Rain, I had a stint at Amazon with Shopbop in Eastane. So again, quite a different schooling. The Amazon school is quite something.
I feel like you're flexing your CV, man. Did I go back and drop some brands?
Dude, it's why I'm here. It's why I'm here, George. Are you kidding?
Dude. Oh, you just dropped 15 brands, man. I got 8. we can go down that route too. But
I will tell you, when I met George, it took me about 5 minutes to say yes. So, I'm all about the quality of the product and what, when George and I started talking, it was, there was something that I recognized was I hadn't seen it before. 2, I thought the market was early. We're really early to the product. But I said yes, based on, product is always king and queen. And so that for me is everything, because once you have an incredible product, the consumer, if we get inspired by it, we know the consumer will. So that was my intro and my history. I didn't mean to show you up. Well, I kind of meant to show you up. But,
there it is. Working really hard, so it's all good.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, thank you for that intro. We're amongst royalty, folks. Now that you've heard, with Andy and George and Shawn. It's a special place in my heart because Shawn and I only met a little while ago, but he's actually been a part of like the Stacked community at large for a while. Shawn, I'm teeing you up there a little bit, but tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I initially started with a corporate finance background, international oil and gas, former Soviet Republic, so very familiar with the Ukraine situation. But yeah, I'm the wild card of the bunch. I went from
you're also the crypto guru, so go at it.
Thank you. Now I went from that to doing some like motorcycle adventuring. I rode up to the Arctic Ocean, did some tours around the U.S., and then pursued some creative interests, acting and riding out in California, and amateur motorcycle racing on the 7 tracks there in California. And
wow.
then I found my way back to, I've always enjoyed patterns and the trading cycles, and I naturally found my way back back into the kind of like finance related things with crypto as it started growing. That's where I found you, Jared.
Yep.
We didn't know each other, but your advice and insight was very very helpful, and saved me a lot of missteps. But yeah, I got into crypto trading, last year, really big. I looked at it in 2019, 2020. Didn't really get into it too much, but then that January, February boom is when I really started taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Mains, altcoins, some of the crazier high risk stuff that I'm sure you dabbled in as well.
Oh yeah.
And moved from there to NFTs. And at first I laughed at them, but then they became a serious passion. And especially that summer boom is when I really started taking them seriously and trading heavily. And I took all that experience and brought it in to kind of architect our collection.
Sure.
From the trading and collecting side, and just try to take care of the community and do something different on that end. So adding that into the revolutionary stuff that George and Andy are bringing in. So
yeah,
a little bit, it's kind of, that's my wild card crypto story. I know all of us that got in, I think we're all.
That's right. You got to have the crypto guy. It's funny you say that because it's part of the reason why I am so interested in having this conversation, because you just mentioned like your background, Shawn, of like, I did a bunch of this, did a bunch of that, got into crypto, and there was some crazy shit going on there, and I tried it all. Okay. And I'm the same way too. In fact, mine bleeds straight into NFTs, which is why whenever I see something like what you guys are doing, I don't just like, all right, no, that's not what I'm used to. I'm going to ignore it. And let me tell the story really quick, and then we'll kind of hop into it. There is a video on my YouTube page on Twitch of a friend of mine, Carlos Ataxia, who's from Ecuador. He's a doctor, but he's also into crypto. And he came on when Bored Apes were like under 20 grand. And for an hour, he tried to sell me on why it was different. And I was like, fuck Bored Apes, man. Like, that's stupid. Like, I'm not doing that. That's dumb. Like, I was like, pictures. They're going to have some utility outside of just being pictures. Yeah, right. And I literally just dismissed it. It's an hour of him telling me all the things that we're going to do and why it was going to be huge. And I was like, no way. I could never see that. And obviously, not only did I mess that up atrociously, but they delivered, and it's now changed NFTs in a lot of respects. And so I was like, because I was unwilling to look outside the box, there is an hour-long footage of me turning down what could have been tremendous fortune for everybody to see. And because I didn't have an open mind. And from that moment forward, when I see something new, when I see something different or outside of the box, I'm like, never again. I'm looking into it. If I can bring these guys on my show, I'm going to talk about it. And that's when I saw Colton Rain, when we first talked about this, I was like, oh my God, this is different. Different isn't bad. It's just different. And it's merging worlds that now that I'm into this makes a lot of sense. And so that's how I'll kind of set up Colton Rain. So there's people on here who know about you guys. There's people on here who don't. Okay, so what's the best way for us to kind of start from the top and drill down? We know you guys are fashion royalty, at least in my eyes, because look, I wear golf polos and I hang out, but I collect sneakers too, and I like stuff, and I'm also a high dollar collector of a lot of things. So how should we start? You want me to pull up the page, George? You want to kind of go on formation? What's the best thing to do?
Yeah, I'll give a quick pitch on the brand.
Sure.
I think I've done it a few times by now. Look, we're in it to change the game, right? So as everybody knows, I'm a passionate sneakerhead. Okay, so my background is in fashion. I started dabbling into NFTs about 6 months ago. Okay, version 1.0 of Colton Rain was not even close to what we have right now, right? And what I wanted to create in the beginning was a luxury sneaker brand. And why sneakers? Because I was doing runway for men's and women's collections for the past 10 years.
Okay.
And I wanted to focus on something that I was more, let's say, not less passionate about, but I just wanted to switch it up. You know, I wanted to design a sneaker that was one of a kind, handmade in Italy, the ultra luxury scarcity, let's say, model, right? And started dabbling into blockchain because in the beginning, I wanted to tie the shoe to blockchain, basically, for authentication and ownership transfer.
Yes.
Because I collect a couple hundred pairs of sneakers. And when I moved from Paris to New York, I ended up unloading a big part of my collection. And some of them came back fake. Okay, some of them came back counterfeit, right? So, like for example, StockX got back to me and said, "Hey, this sneaker that you have is not authentic." So that really freaking pissed me off, obviously, because I held on to these shoes for years, polished them, you know, kept them in perfect condition, and that's kind of how the idea started. That's how Web3 came into my universe. Okay, in the beginning. Then, obviously, as I assembled the team, as I started to go down this path, the NFT market started to boom, okay? And I was pitching everyone, including the team, my creative, let's say, talents, right? My idea of creating the most radical 3D animation, right? With this concept in mind of a moving foreground, a moving background. And I was trying to tell everybody, look, we can create the most badass NFT and we can produce the exact same shoe at the best factory in the south of Italy, okay? Including, let's say, radical original designs of a hex pack packaging that I had in my mind, right? So my idea was always, let's start with sneakers, okay? And then let's scale up from that as subsequent drops are delivered, okay? So we put together a team. Everybody got fired up with the concept. We knew that it was a challenging concept, okay? Because producing a luxury sneaker is very expensive, first off, right? You have to produce molds that cost a fortune to start, right? There's materials. Italian-made lambskin is not cheap. Let me tell you guys that. And also the time and the cost of goods manufacturing it is also very high, right? So we knew that we needed to offer the best. And when I say the best, I mean the best experience, okay? So that's why we also invested heavily in a very radical website experience, right? A lot of people come to Colton Rain, they say, man, that's like one of the most radical websites we've ever seen. You know?
Yes.
So
which, by the way, I'm transitioning to it right now, so people are going to see. Keep talking, so they can only see me. They can't see you guys. I had a Magni issue, but I'm going to keep talking because I think your website is unbelievable. So keep going.
Yeah. So like part of our leadership team, we have Sabine, she's our chief digital officer, right? And Sabine comes from a luxury background too. She's worked for companies, for agencies that represent companies or work with companies such as Balenciaga, okay, such as Bottega Veneta, such as YSL. And she's kind of our digital genius, okay? And then with my creative vision, we kind of built this radical website that's very user interactive, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to create a new experience for the user and the audience. So it's kind of like a signature from A to Z that we wanted to provide the ultimate luxury experience. That's why we kind of hail ourselves at this point as the first luxury fashion brand born from Web3, right? And our mission is really to bridge both sides of the world, right? We come from the old world. We come from Web2, luxury fashion, let's say, experience. But the reason why we all left and the reason why I came into Web3 is because I was just sick and tired of dealing with, an executive board of advisors behind, okay, that would dictate what the collection would look like, how much to sell it at. I was tired of dealing with wholesalers, your Saks, your Bloomingdale's, your Galeries Lafayette, your Harrods in London, et cetera, et cetera. Worked with them for so many years. And essentially the power was always with the wholesalers. They were the ones that kind of cut the check, right? They were the ones that dictated what your collection should be, what your collection should look like, how much your collection should be priced at. And it kind of just took all the fun and creativity out of design. Okay. Right. So,
right.
George and I actually bonded over this too. We were both frustrated with the system. And it's interesting on the outside that when you look on the outside and the inside, you think this is incredibly kind of sexy, fun kind of industry. It's actually very calendarized and it's very rigid. There's a certain way of structure of doing things to make sure that you can get the product into the stores to service the customer. And that doesn't change. But it's such a broken model when you think about it. Takes some companies a year to 18 months to get product from.
I think we lost them again.
No.
Oh, you got rugged again. Look, I'll pick up.
Yeah.
I'll pick up where he left off.
Sure.
Okay. So essentially, Web3 inspired us because it's decentralized, right? Because the power remains to the people and the power remains to the community. So when we started Colton Rain, there were kind of 4 guiding principles, right? Or you can call them DNA codes that we followed from inception, right? And those codes are art, creativity, quality, right? And community.
Sure.
And I end with community because we wanted to be homegrown, okay, and kind of earn the love of the Web3 community. Hence the reason why we did 5 collaborations, right? 3 collaborations with Web3 artists, native artists that inspired me as far as their art, badass artists, okay, Shawn, Sophie, and Javier. And then with our Genesis collection, we also collaborated with 2 badass communities, right? The Hearts Project was one, and then the other one was the Smilesverse Project. So, we knew that we wanted to be community first and community based and build our brand from foundation up with everybody's love and support. So I think we've been successful so far, right? And will continue to be successful because people recognize that, we're for real when it comes to involving the community as our backbone. So the script changes, having worked for, rich shareholders for so many years and having a board or having big wholesale companies dictate, kind of the future of a brand, right? Sure. That script has been flipped. Now the community will help us build this brand together. Okay. That's why I call all of our collectors shareholders, right? Because it's true. You guys are the shareholders. You guys are the reason why we're here. And we will scale this brand together and make history together. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. You say a lot of things that, I came from a corporate environment too. I don't need to touch on my background, but I feel like that control, if you're an artist, it doesn't matter what your medium, has been stripped throughout the way I guess business and capitalism has evolved over the last like 50, 60 years, right? Where that like it thinks it should be fun, but it's not. I have a friend of mine who is in music promotion and music production. And every day he and I talk about how can we try to free artists that create music a little bit more. And it's like these guys get fucked constantly. And pardon my language, if you get offended by cursing, I curse, okay? And it's like, these are the people that, yeah, they change our lives with music, or they change our lives with clothes or with art or whatever it is. And the last person to get paid, the cost of doing business to just get your shit out there, is the person doing the creating. And that's super messed up.
Jared, I mean, I saw that. I saw that in California on the acting and the writing side. Even the writing was heavily controlled, by these studios. So, I mean, it was. I've seen the constrictions come in, on all sides.
Sure.
So this really is a blessing. Web3 it's a blessing for all of us that have.
It's beautiful,
experience.
It's back to like
there's another saying that we have, which
yes.
Sorry, there's another saying we have. We always there's two things. One, everyone wins. So like, let's make sure the community first, in all the decisions that we make, right? So the brand is nothing if we don't have, a strong community and one that believes in us as individuals, but believes in the brand and trusts us to deliver. So that's the first thing. And then the other part of that, which is highly linked, is like just people before profits. And so I really believe that those kind of tenets will hold us well as we go through, because there are such, strong pillars of Web3. And, you look at most fashion brands out there that are, in the traditional space, they don't say that. They don't, right. They want customers, but they don't have community. And they, by changing the lens and the optics on how you think about customers versus collectors and community first, you make decisions that are so radically different today in the situation that we're in compared to when we're in a structured organization and corporation.
And we don't we don't address our community members or our customers, so to speak, as customers, right? We address everyone as family, as collectors, okay, which is super important, right? And as shareholders,
yes, right?
And as shareholders, because you guys helped us, let's say, achieve the success so far with our Genesis Mint, right? And now we have, gained enough revenue to start scaling the brand,
which is super, super exciting. So, unfortunately for me, I missed the mint. Okay, so I didn't know I got you guys during the mint. It was after. And so you guys red pilled me after, and I went and bought at market. So out of being pure disclosure, I own 3 different of the shoes which I'm planning on redeeming. I understand that I have a little bit of an uphill battle with my foot sizing. I have size 13 feet, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But
you're covered. You're covered.
13?
You made it.
Let's go.
You made it.
Let's go.
As long as you don't grow anymore.
No. This is what it is.
Jared, it helps having one of the co-founders of the site.
Exactly.
Let's go, boy. Yeah.
Make sure.
Seriously, though, I was like, oh, my God, I really want these. I don't want to be out. Somebody asked, what pairs do I have? Do I have any collaborations? Yeah, so I have a Sophie. I really wanted a Shawn, like badly, and like no one's dropping price on that. I know I should just pay it. Just get off me. Okay, I'm a trader first. All right, I know I should just do it. But I was like hoping somebody would paper hand a Shawn, and I was like, damn it. So I'm still watching, and I just haven't seen it yet. They're not doing it. So I like them a lot. But I want to talk about your drop. And that's why I brought this up at all, because it's a little bit of a different format. You have, let's talk about the different models. You talked about the molds and the collabs and the rarities. So there's a lot to go through there, because what got me interested even more than just learning about you, I was like, oh shit, I'm definitely scooping a ruby somehow, because the redeemables on that look insanely good, and they all look good. So I'm going to ask that question, and then I'm going to pivot to where people can see my screen, which have the digital redeemables that talk about the mint. So I don't know who's best to talk about this, but when was the mint? When did it start? Let's go there, and then I might interrupt you to clarify some spots. So who wants to go?
I think I'll be nominated for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show the arc when it comes to our mint, our utility scales, what we call the culture path,
sure,
right? Which is essentially what our NFT is. that just happens, right, to come with a list of what we're calling the ultimate utilities attached, including the physical shoe and the physical hex pack with it. But Shawn, take it away. Maybe tell the audience, how you structured it and what's to come.
Yeah. So this took a lot of different elements into consideration. One, being my trading, crypto trading and NFT background.
Yep.
I try to take as much of the good that I saw in various projects I was collecting in, and try to eliminate the bad. And I think my number one overarching driver was that everyone wins. That's what I wanted to see in this collection.
Sure. Hard to do, but I think you've done it. I'll let you keep going.
It's been an evolving process too. But so that's what's cool about having the luxury physical redeemable. And I was so excited when George talked to me, because we get these hyped projects, and they'll some of them have these meteoric rises, but then there's nothing really behind them, and if they crash, then you're left with nothing.
Right.
And that's happened to me many times. Or if you don't get the rarest,
to all of them.
Yeah. If you're in this space,
if you're listening to this, it's happened to you.
Yeah, rug pulls are real.
So that's happened so many times. And here I was like, how fun is this going to be? Where even if it went to zero, you're going to get 1,200.
Right.
You're gonna get a 1,200 euro shoe attached. So that really intrigued me. I thought that would be very intriguing to other traders and experienced traders in the space. So that was the foundation. But then I wanted to make sure that why do they want to hold this after? Why not just burn a token and just move on? So because it's our Genesis collection and we're founding a brand, we decided to turn this into our culture pass. So everything we do from here will be tied to this collection. It'll be tied to these NFTs. These NFTs will be the pass moving forward. It's
the Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail. Yeah. So and it goes across all the rarities, and the rarities are based on shoe numbers. So this is a shout out to the sneakerheads that I know would want this. And we put the numbers on the shoes.
Yes. Honestly, I like that too. My favorite number is 31. And so I was like looking for 31s, and I was like, okay, what's a nice 31 that I can pull? Anyway.
That's why we did it. Like, is anyone, it's like, do we need to put the numbers on shoes? Anyone do that? I said, no, they don't. So let's do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a numbered version.
Believe me, putting the numbers on both the physical shoe and the NFT itself was a tremendous cost.
Yes, there's a reason people don't do that.
People just put the number at the bottom of OpenSea because the moment you attach it to the NFT, right? Yeah. It's a completely new creation, right? And the moment you put numbers on physical shoes, that means that physical molds need to be opened up to be able to emboss these numbers across each different styles.
Right. Okay, yes. So first off, thank you, because that appeals to the collector in me. Where I'm like, oh man, that's sweet. Oh, which number do you got? You got 26? I got 31. All right, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm wearing 25.
Yeah, 25. So. Fair enough. Okay, so I like the idea of that. So you kind of phrase this as you got models. They're numbered 1 to 100. Calling it a culture pass makes a ton of sense, right? Because this is a cultural shift. It's something that it's different. This is kind of your entryway in. And by the way, Genesis drop to me gets me excited because I've been a part of a couple Genesis drops by accident, and you just feel like, hey man, I was there. I got there first. Obviously you want to adopt as many people as possible, but Genesis drops always a good idea if you believe in a project. So well done there. Thank you. And you have this so on the screen, you guys aren't seeing it directly there. If you're watching on Twitch, you can. This is, so again, cultandrain.com /redeemables, and you can go through and see you have digital redeemables, you have physical redeemables. So the rarity I'm looking at here goes crystal, topaz, sapphire, emerald, ruby, and opal being kind of your grails, right? Your one of ones.
Yes.
And so how did you come about, adding things to that? And then what I thought out, because look, I looked down at ruby, and the reason why I said, oh man, I want to get that, is limited edition autographed print of NFT. I was like, sweet, must do it. So you got to get buy-in from the artist too there, and then scaling all the way down to be willing to do this. So what was that process like, getting people to buy into add-ons and that kind of stuff?
So
let me tap on that for 1 second. The artist redeemables, just so you know, all the artist utilities were provided out of pure love. Okay? Out of pure love from each of the artists and community.
Really?
We did not put any type of specifications. We just said, look, our utility scale is here. It comes with physicals and digitals, obviously the shoe and the packaging, right? Worldwide free shipping from our factory in Italy. This is our list of utilities.
Which is nuts.
Right? Which is
worldwide free shipping. Doesn't matter where you are, guys. Let's think about that for a moment. I do not. Oh. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so we said, guys, here's our utility scale. Whatever you can do to add on top of it, because everybody who owns a Genesis collection will receive every utility that's listed within our scale, depending on the number you own, right? Obviously. But on top of that, right, if you guys can throw in some bonus offers, for example, if you were able to, peel off a Shawn Williams or a Sophie, for example, right? Those guys really went to bat. I mean, those guys went in there with their hearts and on their own will, right, listed out some amazing utilities attached. So each artist has unique utilities attached to them, even, the Hearts project. And then finally, we have what we're calling the ultimate one from Smilesverse, which is our 101 of 2001. So there's additional utilities attached to that. I don't think anybody's ever going to sell that.
Nope.
Curious to see, when they sell, what the value is. But so that's kind of been the process with attaching artist utilities to ours.
And I'll tell you, Jared. Like the Javier and Sophie. These are one of one. Maker's Place and Super Rare. But we did not ask them to do it. You can see on the rubies, they're dropping one of one NFTs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you see what they're selling for, Super Rare, it's incredible. And they just, if you see what they're selling, that wasn't part of their contract.
Same thing with Harsh Project, man. Aiden's my boy. I mean, he just stepped up to the plate and just knocked it out. He's got free NFTs attached to Harsh Projects too. Free whitelist. I mean, the list goes on.
But George, they all understand the power of community,
exactly,
right? So it's not like they didn't do it for us. Like they didn't step up for us. Yeah. They stepped up for the community, because they understand the power of it. And then that was also really important in the artist selection, right? So we were in talks early on with talent, celebrities. We came from the traditional fashion world, that signs talents, and we kind of pivoted really early on because we realized that in order for it to be perceived as born from Web3, we also needed to be working with artists that were really truly believed in the space and the community.
Yeah.
And so once we kind of we kind of understood that early on, it was a really kind of no-brainer for us, because the deeper we went into it, like, this made total sense, not just from a brand point of view, because we love the value system they have. The art is like pretty dope and sick, but also it just worked with our values on the brand. And so once you went there, it was really, really not difficult. And then there was a conversation about, here's the vision, and Sophie, Shawn, Javier, Aiden, they all connected with the values and the vision that we had. And so we didn't even like the redeemables are because of the pure love of the community and the values that they have.
Right. When I think about this, and a lot of times I get accused of going a little bit too like, all right, calm down, Jared, like too far into the future. But if you think about a potential paradigm shift and being among the first ones to do something, which I believe this will have legs. I believe it will go long term. It's funny because, like, looking back through the lens of history of those artists who are willing to do more for the good of, like, the changing of a sector, right? Like, those are pioneers. You guys are pioneers. The artists who said, yes, I'm going to put the community first. I'm going to do extra because it's what I should do to help this grow, is a hell of a thing. And it makes what makes this space special, what makes what you're doing special. And so I always try to look through the lens of history, or looking back upon what happened, to go, who stepped up, who was an asshole, and, like, who helped make these things happen. Because, like, to your point, I think it was George, might have been Andy. We're trying to make this thing not just here, right? We want to. Andy, it was you and I talking before we came on the air. If we can help others adopt this and make this bigger and just grow fashion, and not necessarily call it rain. Obviously, you guys are going to do more, and which is what I'm excited for. But just helping people see that this can work. This is a blueprint. Improve upon the blueprint. That's open source crypto, right? Like, this is what we did. Find your own way. Like, that is super, super cool.
We're seeing an incredible amount of support from the pioneers that came before us, and being able to interact with them, and then also pave our own way. It's extremely exciting, Jared. And it wouldn't be possible without this Web3 revolution that we're going through. So
yeah.
I'm very, very inspired by the others that have kind of rallied to us, and that have also just given us advice and guidance, just because they, like, we all want to see the same thing. We all want to see this new world evolve. Has so much more promise and less restriction as the end.
Yeah. Andy, looks like you want to pop in. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're still really early. I mean, the whole space is early, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's so architectural right now, and we're all still figuring it out. Like, anyone that says they're an expert in this space, they're a fraud, because who's an expert after a year of, like, doing something, or 18 months maximum. And I think it's such an incredible time to be in this, because there's no rights, there's no wrongs, there's no left, there's no rights, to turn. You go your own path. But I do want to shout out Artifact, because they really did pave the way, and they kind of, like, they opened the door for so many people, and so many brands and so many opportunities, because they were the first, and they executed flawlessly, and the quality of what they produced was exceptional. And so the more examples that you have, like Artifact, and hopefully Colton Rain can be an example to the same level as Artifact, right? The more people, it will inspire people to get involved and to be involved. And when that happens, we'll all win, right? Because it's just the way that the structure of community in Web3 is allowing us to. But you've got to have these examples of people that broke through and proof of concept.
Sure.
So shout out to Artifact, man. They cracked it before anyone else was even thinking about cracking it.
Absolutely. And I just want to say the same. Those guys paved the way. Artifact, they inspired me for sure. Okay.
Sure.
I always said to everybody, that asked me about Colton Rain and kind of where we stand. I always say, look, if Artifact is like the supreme of the space, Colton Rain is like the Balenciaga of the space, right? We're kind of we're all within the same pot, let's say, but we're just producing it in our own way. That's all. But to come back to your point, Jared, one of the things you asked earlier was, something that I'm most proud of, and I think the team is most proud of from our Genesis Mint, 10 days back, was the fact that we were actually able to attract a lot of first-time buyers. Buyers, and we had so many people DM us, email hi at Colton Rain, reach out to me on LinkedIn, asking one question: how do I buy an NFT? How do I get in on this? What is this? My God, you're a fashion brand. How are you tied to NFTs? Do I use my Coinbase wallet? No, you cannot. You must have a MetaMask wallet. Literally, I mean, we literally took time out during the day of our mint to explain to people step by step, okay, how to purchased their first NFT. And these were people around the world. And that's something that made me extremely happy at the end of the day, right? Because our entire mission is to create this bridge, because we come from both sides of the spectrum, as you can see from our team just on the show today, right? I mean, we're built like from both sides, and that's what we want to do. We want to introduce a luxury fashion brand born from Web3 to be able to incentivize normal luxury fashion buyers from the real world and take them on board, with us on this journey, because it has to be mass adoption, right? Mass adoption will come in a matter of time, right? And when that comes, everybody wins. Again, we all win as a Web3 community.
I could not agree more. And as somebody who, I essentially started the show to help people learn, get more information, try to onboard who I can. That really kind of appeals to me, because you're right. That is, bringing new people into the space, learning more about it. Like it always starts with something, and who knows what that thing's going to be, right? Maybe it's Colton Rain. Maybe it's, people have heard me talk about the cosmos forever. Well, what the hell is the cosmos? Let me look into that, right? Like there's a bunch of different ways that people can get into. And so every avenue helps quite a bit. And I'm curious, something you just said, George and Andy, Andy listed off like his 37 companies he was associated with before, we got going here. You guys launched this product. How many of those of your former employers have reached out to be like, oh man, what is this? So like, have you been getting, either of you guys been getting like the previous employers being like, holy shit, what's going on? Or tell me about that.
We have been blown up this past.
Really?
Not only from our network of fashion professionals that have just knocked on our door and said, what the fuck is this? What's going on? Right? On top of that, even from an investor point of view, because because everybody knows that Colton Rain is self-funded, right? We went into this, the team put in sweat equity, right? I essentially put my entire life savings into this brand, so we did not take on institutional investor or even angel investors in the beginning, because, we wanted the independence. So in the past 4 weeks, we've had a tremendous amount of interest on kind of three fronts, right? One is, like you said, people from the past coming back to us, just friends and family, or like people we worked with. They're like, WTF, what the hell's going on, right? And then we have like institutional investors or VCs, private equity, you name it. They've all hit us up saying, okay, what is this? We see that you guys are doing something completely different, right? Tying physical to NFTs, which is probably the next big wave, I would imagine. Okay. And then last but not least, right? Collaborations. My God, we've gotten so many hits from so many different avenues, man, from like luxury car companies to other communities to luxury fashion brands. And we've had to filter through that as well, because everybody knows we're trying to set up a really badass drop one and drop two. We're trying to line up two at the same time,
Oof.
And we want to make sure that we drop a bomb, for drop one and drop two. Everybody knows we love collaborations. So our community's fired up because they know, my God, shit, if these guys can do 5 collabs on their Genesis, I'm sure they'll cook up something interesting for drop one, right? So it's been a lot of love, man. So yeah.
That's very cool. That's very cool. Shawn, I see you pulled yourself off mute. The little raise of hand there. Did you want to add something?
Oh no, I was just checking the feedback.
Oh, okay. And Andy, I know I've kind of posed that your way too. Anything different from your side?
I was going to add in the interesting thing for the conversations that are happening from my side is that, going back and forth between, the real world and the metaverse is something that we really believe in. And I think one of the things that's come through with people who've been reaching out is that they love the physical products. Like the first thing is there's a lot of people that are interested in sneakers and they want the shoe.
Yeah.
And so it goes back to the original statement that the product always has to be king and queen. Like they without that, if the shoe was, not designed well or didn't look right or it wasn't cool or, I really believe we wouldn't have the interest, because people, at the end of the day, people want to wear cool stuff. And so what this means for us is that the toggle between the real life and the metaverse is really important. So, this is a brand born from Web3, but it doesn't mean that we stay in Web3. I think the differentiator here for us is, and why people get interested is, we talk about pop-ups. We talk about, selling on e-commerce. We talk about, a fashion show during New York Fashion Week. We talk about, servicing the customer, in real life, flagship resale stores. Can we educate people on NFTs within our pop-ups and flagship retail stores? And that becomes a real interesting conversation for those who, that we're having with people, because it's not just, okay,
I want to sell both, Jared. Why can't we sell NFTs and physical luxury in the same space? That's something to think about, okay? And that's part of our vision. Sorry, Andy. Keep going.
No, that's another differentiator, and that's why I think people get really interested, because there's a ton of projects that you can invest in. There's a ton of projects that you can kind of have conversation with, and other brands and companies and individuals doing great things. But the thing that I think really gets people's attention is the fact that A, you can wear it, B, it's cool, C, like we talk about servicing the customer in the real world. And that also just helps mass adoption, because the brand and the space and the education just goes so much further. And that's what gets me really excited. The fact that, we've done this for 25 years plus. We know how to, make cool stuff, but we also know how to like present it, retail it, sell it, and get the new curious customers really interested into Web3, and also, toggle the physical and the digital products.
Yeah.
And Jared, just to add, going back on the Web3, like the crypto trader side, I realized how far ahead we are, just in the space that we already exist in. Like just explaining this concept and reaching out to people about it. It's still such a foreign concept, just the physical redeemable concept. I know there's been a few other adjacent connections, but it's still an educational process for the seasoned NFT trading community.
Yeah,
what we're doing, I've learned that. So I think we're still early, even in the NFT space. As opposed to the real world that's coming in. So
yeah,
I foresee huge growth. And I think,
absolutely,
I've seen like some of the pioneers and early adopters, like they've gotten it really quickly. Like some of the really high end guys, like the guys from Neo Tokyo that saw us real quickly. Like D's and just explaining it to you.
Yeah.
But I think that awareness, there's so much more just in what we're already participating in. That's going to be coming even over this next month or two as moving drop one. I foresee something very special as this gains more awareness.
Yeah, I would agree. And by the way, there's a couple questions that have come in that are good ones that I was planning on asking anyway. One person asked about the name, the story behind the name, the story behind the logo. If you wouldn't mind touching on that, because I'm just curious. I didn't really know. I think it's pretty neat.
Absolutely.
And then a couple other ones. So let's start there first, whoever wants to go.
Yeah, that's an easy one. So Colton Rain was formed. Actually, the first thing that I sketched in my sketchbook, was hashtag CULTR.
Okay.
That was the first thing I drew. And that hashtag means culture, right?
Right.
Cult is short for culture. Cult R, right, is short for culture. cult is assembly of people that believe in something,
Sure.
right? That's a cult, right?
Yep.
And reign because we wanted culture to reign around the world, because we're a drop model, we're a scarcity model, and that's how the name came to my head, in the very beginning. This was like 14, 15 months ago, right? And then obviously I wanted to design a symbol, right, that represented the brand, a logo.
Sure.
And the logo was the ampersand, right? That
Yeah.
connected culture and reign. So the ampersand was something that's, again, original design, right, that I sketched out, because everybody knows I'm an artist myself, so I do everything paper to pencil first. Sure. And that's kind of how the name of the brand was conceived. Yeah.
Sure. If you have those sketches, you should get them as NFTs and put them out. I'm sure Shawn's told you about that, but that's kind of shit people going nuts about.
We have original concept sketches attached to some of the rarities, just so you know.
I love it. Yeah, that sort of shit, like, it's so nice to see, and like gives you an idea about where things came from. And like, I have actually an uncle of mine has like some original Mickey Mouse sketches that have been like family heirlooms that are now worth large money that he has like in his safe, that were like, oh my god, original sketches from Walt Disney. Like, that shit's crazy.
It was a lot of fun, Jared. I mean, I had a lot of fun building the redeemables package out with George and just spitballing. And I mean, this is our first project, and being on the trader side, like, oh, I wish I had all these things in a project. And I actually got to do them.
Yeah, actually be a piece of it.
So you can see how much we threw in there. That was all out of love and for the other traders out there.
Sure. And so the next, it's not really a question, but Gen Z says, that credibility about selling products in real life and digital at the same time will be estimated on the delivery and the quality. And I agree on that. And quite frankly, when I first heard the basic idea of this before talking to any of you, I was like, okay, there's been a lot of like promises being made. And the first question was, are these guys doxed? Do they have a background? Because like, this could easily be like, we're going to do some great stuff. See ya. Then you never hear from anybody ever again. So obviously then I was like, oh, these are real people. Look at your backgrounds. They have real backgrounds. Andy has a couple dozen of them. Right? Like, I'm just giving you a hard time, Andy. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Sounds like I jumped from ship to ship. I'm just old. That's all.
No, I hear you. And so talk about connecting those two, because you're doing something bespoke, right? That there's numbers on each one. That takes a long time. And I want to talk about what happens tomorrow, or at least my understanding what happens tomorrow, what that window looks like, delivery expectations, how you're marrying this all together, because I think that's a pretty important piece of this Genesis drop, right?
Very important.
It's a great question, Jared. And let me rest assured the audience members that, the team and I are for real. So let me just tap in a few brands that I've worked for. I think this provides credibility to the project, right? So I actually went to Parsons School of Design, as my formal, let's say, fashion training. I started my career at DKNY, Then I moved to John Varvatos. I helped launch Theory, in New York from 2004 to 2010. I was recruited to Milan, worked for a luxury fashion house called Costume National. I was design director there, men's, women's wear for Runway. From there, I was recruited to Paris, worked for two heritage brands. One was called Gila Roche, and another one was called Cheruti Paris. And for that stint, I also did Runway, men's and women's, for 8 years. So obviously, with 18 years in the business, I was able to collect a lot of relationships with factories, right? Because the majority of my career has been in Europe with made in Italy products across all categories, But shoes and sneakers, particular to me, I hold it to heart. So I formed very strong relationships with Italian factories, for the past 10 years. And these are not factories that you can go tomorrow and just say, hey, you know what? I want to produce 100 shoes and here's a check for whatever it is, 200 grand, $2 million, they could care less. Right. These are legacy factories, generational factories, with artisanal, people on the floor that have been trained for generations to make everything bespoke by hand.
Sure.
Okay. So this is, imagine it as the mafia. All right. So without, literally without credibility, without a connection, good luck trying to produce in Italy. Okay. So
sure.
we set that
before it's impossible.
Project. Okay. Every NFT had to be vetted by our head of product development based in Milan. He had to go to the factory to ensure that every single line that I drew was producible and possible. When we started the mold production, it was the same process. So right now we're at a stage where the molds have been are in the middle of being produced right now. Mm-hmm. So I will be headed to Milan. Actually, to Milan, our factory is in Tuscany. Okay. Our shoe factory is in Tuscany. Our packaging factory is in Bologna. So I will be making a tour in the next probably 2 weeks. And Andy's telling me I should take a film crew with me.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. And we're just going to create some badass collaterals so everybody can see behind the scenes from A to Z how these heritage Italian factories work.
I cannot stress enough how freaking cool that will be.
Oh, it's coming, man. We're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and as much production value as you can add and insight into the process, I think is going to help tell the story more. And it's not that people like innately don't believe, right? Like obviously, I think you guys, they can find you guys on LinkedIn right now if they really wanted to, right? Like they could go look at your background and all that stuff, right?
I can pull down a box right now and show you some things. You want me to do that?
Do it. Oh, here we go. Little bonus.
See, now I'm going
to get bonus.
So just so everybody who,
sorry, no, I was just going to say this is the one thing that we've been doing for 20 plus years, and so This is not that we take it for granted because the producing a luxury product is not easy and it's not cheap. And George explained it very well, just in terms of how closed off it is. Like you can't walk in and just ask for a run, and there's a reason why people can't do it, just also because the cost is exorbitant. But it's also a point of difference that we really believed in. And so, the quality of the product, what George produced for Runway, what I was involved with in terms of like luxury fashion and even also in streetwear. Like there's two things. There's taste level, which is what I look for first. There's a quality and a taste level. Those two things combined, you can't learn it. You don't go to Parsons and kind of learn that. You either have it or you don't have it. And there's two types of designers too. There's those who can design and sketch and put pencil to paper. And there's others that tell others what to do. And so, what you've got in George is a true designer, like putting pencil to paper from sketch to shop, from sketch to shop.
Whoa.
I mean,
this is the first. He's never shown these before.
It's made in Italy enough.
Oh my God.
I mean, well, I've got souls in the house. I've got, color cards. I mean, you name it, we have boxes and boxes full of material that I've gone through to ensure that everything is real.
That is
all the materials.
Awesome.
These are all Italian lambskin. Oh, look at the color card.
That is crazy. Which
boxes and boxes of it, man.
By the way, not that it helps people that are watching live right now, but all these video feeds, I have more on video than what you guys are seeing, and so I'll have a full high res image of what George is doing right now. So when I release this post, it'll go full screen and be a lot higher res. So you guys will see it. Yeah, oh my God!
Boxes and boxes full of material.
It
doesn't
end. This doesn't end. Like George's
go through.
I want to also preface too.
Paper quality. Okay, just with the box within the hex box, paper quality. We know
sure.
Recyclable has to be sustainable. I mean, you name it, they've sent it to me.
That's awesome.
And let me tell you something. My wife is not happy that I've turned our flat into a studio.
Apartment into a studio.
But as we scale up, As we scale up, we're going to launch our own studio. We're going to have our own office, et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome.
This doesn't stop at sneakers.
Go ahead, Andy.
Like, no, it just doesn't stop at sneakers. It's actually, we're working on apparel. We're working on other product categories. I think that's the exciting thing is, we've started with sneakers because we're kind of like, we're passionate about them and we love them, and we've all collected them, but we also love clothes too. Like, we love apparel, and we want to make the most badass, luxurious, hoodies, sweaters, outfits, bomber jackets, like you name it. And so it's important for people to realize that don't just think of Colton Rain as a shoe company or a sneaker company. Like, we're a culture company, and that includes so much more. We're not going to limit ourselves to one product category, but many.
Yeah, that it is impressive. First off, I know you're in New York. I can't imagine how much of your home, George, is being dominated by the things that have been sent to you. So I feel for your wife. Trying to keep all that in.
Me too. Gordana has the patience of a saint.
Oh my Lord. That's a beautiful view. Nice thing to look out at.
I did a nice spot when I came home.
Yeah.
I stare at these guys every day for like 10 hours.
No kidding.
I need a break. I need a break from me and George, or I guess we're a second married couple now. and Andy, we're the Miami Three. We call ourselves the Miami Three.
That's amazing.
We all met for the first time, all together, all three of us at the NFT Basel in Miami.
Oh, sweet. That's great.
Yeah,
wow.
It was fun.
That's a heck of a lot of fun. By the way, so you're alluding to the box. I think I had it. Yeah, I do. Okay, so you guys aren't gonna be able to see it, but people on Twitch or watching live will, if you have it up, you'll see. So I have the kind of like the hex box thing that you sent me, Shawn. Is it okay if I play that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is the hex box, just kind of a rundown. There's different designs. I asked him what the hell is a hex box, and he was like, exactly. And so this, looking at it, I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. I'm gonna make this larger. I'm gonna play it again because I was like, holy Lord, this is super sweet. So can you talk a little bit about this and what it is, how it came to be?
Let's talk about the hex box. I love talking about it because it's such a true story, I guess. So, I've been collecting sneakers.
Piece of art.
I've been collecting time. Okay. And
sure.
You just get a little tired of the simple box. Right? I mean, we're paying, high dollar for some of these very rare collectible sneakers.
Yeah.
Okay. But the packaging around it is always very basic, right? Yes, Nike's going to put some prints on certain collectibles, but the quality itself is very cheap, right? So I started the concept with something very simple in mind, a Rolex, okay? Consider that our sneaker, and the Rolex green box, consider that as the hex pack. So you put the Rolex inside the green box, it's worth exponentially much more. You can even sell the Rolex green box in the secondary market, okay? And it holds its own value as well.
It does.
Right? So the idea of like the hex pack came from, again, an original paper to pencil design where I saw something so precious, okay, that it looked like a nuclear chamber, okay, where everything inside this hex pack was like top secret and confidential. And another thing that I imagined when I designed it were like trophies, okay? I imagined Colton Rain sneakers as trophies inside your home. Why? Because all my collection is in the freaking storage because my wife won't let me put it out. Because it's like, I bought like Muji bins, I have like Muji like plastic bins where I like, put it in and like everything is like stacked nicely, but it's just aesthetically not nice, right? But with the hex pack, now that's different. This is a piece of art, okay? So you can proudly display your Colton Rain hex pack inside a living room, inside inside your bedroom, and it's still badass. It's still cool. So that's kind of the concept.
You still might have to take your partner out for dinner though, just to make sure they're on board with it.
Actually, I think I am going to take this weekend off. I'm about to get divorced, just so you know.
We'll cover you. We'll take turns.
Another thing, Jared, I want to point out is the mold itself to create this hex pack, because of course I wanted sustainable material, et cetera, took like 2 months of research, or actually we started working with like car companies for like materials to make sure that we achieved this look and feel. The mold itself is 30,000 euros.
Holy
just
shit.
to produce the mold. Yeah, just for the packaging. The packaging itself for a shoebox. Okay,
that's true. That's true.
The initial quotes that I got were 70,000 euro. I was like, "What the fuck? Are you kidding with me?" You know,
you should have heard the CFO kind of go through the line item.
Sure.
Wait, what is this?
Everybody thought I was crazy, right? Even the team were like, "Dude, why don't you just like tone it down with like a more fancy box?"
Yeah.
I'm like, no, because
that's not what luxury brands do.
That's not what a luxury brand is.
Right.
It has to be original, right? It has to be one of a kind, and it has to be exclusive. So the packaging alone is worth retail value about $200, just the packaging. I mean, that's pretty fucking radical. I mean, that's like double the price of an Air Max, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
When I see people, you know, selling our NFT at whatever it is, 0.4 or, you know, Ethereum, I'm like, guys, you guys just don't get it yet.
You have no idea. Yeah.
You don't get it yet.
They will. It's coming.
It will, because the shoe itself on StockX is going to be worth multiples of what our min price was. Just the physical shoe itself.
Absolutely.
And watch
attached to it, you know. Yeah.
And watch when these things start hitting people's doorsteps. I think that's going to be a pivotal moment that changes everything.
And you know, like I said, I have 3 of them. I might get another one depending on what happens. I want a Shawn really badly, and so I'm just still watching. Although saying what I want does not help my odds.
Everyone's going to go out for that.
Shit. But
Shawn's a badass though.
Yeah, they're so sick. Yeah. I mean, really, I love the Sophies too. I mean, I love all of them. But I scooped up the Sophies, and I was like,
awesome. I love Sophies, man. They're beautiful, beautiful.
And I forget which one I have a ruby in, but I scooped a ruby as well. But I say that because when I get them, guys, I will open them on this show. How about that? I won't even open them unless
let's open it
we're
together.
live. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Have them back on, and we can kind of have the before and the after.
I love it.
Which, by the way, I didn't really think about it that way, but there's a couple things. 'Cause I'll be honest, you and I talked, and I immediately went to my friends in the industry. I have a lot of friends that are like NFT connoisseurs. I have a lot of friends that are in crypto, and I've been in crypto for a long time. I said, "What are your thoughts?" And like, it's fucking amazing. I'm interested to take a look at it. But there's 2 different sides of this. So the only real negative that I heard, I'm not even sure it's a fair negative, was what happens after you redeem, right? Like, so now you have these shoes, and you kind of just answered that, because people are thinking about traditional NFT flipping and bullshit, right? Like, that's what they're thinking of. You just mentioned, like, you could go on StockX after this if you really wanted to flip and do it a different way. So maybe I'm answering my own question, but do you want to talk to that, George?
Absolutely. You know, obviously we thought about what would happen, right?
Yeah.
If the NFT, right, and the physical separate, for example, right? So what we're trying to do right now is actually keep them together. And we're offering, let's say, additional value to holding them together, right? If you go on OpenSea right now, I think it's like almost 90% of our holders right now are holding.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty significant, right? Because they all want the shoe. So if you hold it together until delivery, right, you're going to receive additional perks, right? So we made an announcement, I think it was 2 days ago, where we upgraded our utilities. Okay. So if you hold it together, you hold it together, we are going to airdrop you, right, another exclusive NFT with another exclusive physical redeemable.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's called our NFT holder rewards. If you look at the top of the redeemables page.
Yeah, hold on. Let me go there, because since we're here, the hex box is showing again while I'm pulling it up. That's okay.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to see the hex box.
Yeah.
Okay.
So So that's one way, right, to incentivize people holding it together. But if you want to trade the NFT, God bless you, go
Right.
for it, because the culture pass is the NFT, and you're going to still receive all the values and utilities attached, right? You're going to have access to our future drops, free whitelist,
Yeah.
airdrops in the future. You're still going to receive all the perks along with the culture pass.
Yeah, so right here, introducing
Yes.
NFT holder rewards. All rarities eligible collectors that hold their NFT from the time of physical sneaker redemption window until physical sneaker delivery will be rewarded an additional exclusive airdrop NFT and matching luxury physical redeemable after delivery. That is so exciting because that was really the only hole I could even poke in this concept.
Yeah, no, because I mean, people they want to keep them together.
Yes.
They and they're like, well, what's the point? Well, this is the point, and we're going to do so much more moving forward for people to keep these together.
Yeah,
it's going to be a lot of fun.
We're launching drop 1 in April. Subsequent drop 2 will be in June, and so on and so forth. And it's not going to stop, right? We're going to have metaverse wearables. So that's another big thing that we should talk about,
yes,
which
please.
is your culture pass is your pass for our metaverse wearables, which Andy and I have been talking to numerous platforms across metaverse itself plus gaming. Okay, so gamification is another big, let's say, path.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
As part of our roadmap, right? So all our NFTs will be metaverse compatible. First off, okay, so even if you decide to part ways with the NFT and hold on to the shoe, right? The subsequent, let's say, collector that picks up the culture pass, right? You're going to have that shoe within the metaverse, or you're going to have that shoe within, games, right? That partners that we're talking to right now. So it just keeps going. Well, that's why we said in the beginning that the Genesis drop culture pass is really the holy grail.
Yeah.
Because with this is your VIP access card, to the future.
That is such a wonderful way to view that because I view it a couple of ways. Like I said, I bought 3. I might buy a 4th. I'm not planning on selling any, even if they 20x in price, because I view me getting involved in this, and this is me taking my all right, Jared, calm the fuck down. I view it as like an open-ended option on the success of Colton Rain, and I believe in you guys, right? So that's how I view this, right?
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
100%, dude. That's exactly what we're looking for in this collection. That's who we wanted in our brain. That's who we wanted on the ground floor. People that have
and
that.
And we've had so many top, influential people within Web3 kind of believe in us and back us up as well.
Yeah.
So it's like an honor, man. Everybody knows that we're for real and we're going to continue to build, okay, step by step, right? There's no magic formula to Web3. We're learning every single day. There's no crystal ball on where this thing is headed. But, we also have, one step outside of Web3 and one foot out and 1 foot in.
Yeah.
So we can pivot each way too. We can zigzag with our collaborations moving forward, right? That's one of the strategies that, Andy and I and the team have been talking about is we can do a collaboration with a luxury, maker of ABCD in the real world, right? But then we can come back the subsequent drop and partner up with the top community, or with another top artist, So that's the beauty of Web3. I mean, it's so infinite as far as how you can keep moving forward and what type of dreams you want to chase, right? Because you also have, again, Metaverse too, which is incredible opportunity.
There's so much that's going to be happening, and the fact that you're actually planning for that. Somebody asked the question, do you have a plan on which metaverse you want to be in? And I know you and I talked about that offline the other day. That's a hard question to answer, and I guess you don't really have to make the choice, but you want to touch on that at all?
Yeah, I mean, Andy, you want to, you've been head of all these conversations, so why don't you take that over for a sec?
I mean, the reality is you got 2 choices at the moment, and what we've been focused on is photorealism and how do we get how do we achieve photorealism to
Yeah.
a quality standard that we really believe in, that ties with the brand values. And so that takes a little bit more work. It takes a little bit more kind of like outside of the the current walled Decentraland and Sandbox metaverses. One of the hardest things is because they're all walled off, and so we're really kind of like believing that kind of cross-platform kind of taking advertising and making sure they can work cross-platform is really important.
Sure.
It also means that how do we, if we want to step outside of that, how do we bring in an experience that is unexpected, right? So, and this is where gamification comes in. So we have one concept that we're working on, which is kind of a carnival game type esque, which done to the way that we want to do it, I think will blow their minds. But there's so many ways to go. This is the hard thing. It's like, the conversations are really deep right now, and we know that it's critical. We know we need to move fast. Aesthetically, we have a little bit of a challenge, but I think we just have to kind of work through that and find the right partner and find the right path.
Sure.
And so I'm being a little cryptic here, but for us, Sandbox and Decentraland they both have their advantages and they both have their challenges. So we're looking for what's right for Colton Rain.
That makes total sense. And I would say that again, just recently, I've been very deep into the Cosmos ecosystem, the Interchain, where they have a very what is centered to their ethos is community involvement, right? It sounds like you're doing that anyway, but I would say that it sounds like you've done a great job facilitating this culture. And if there was to give any advice, and you're already doing it, right? So I'm saying something you already know. I'm just saying it for the sake of this conversation. Keeping that, what do you guys want? Why? Like a DAO type conversation. You guys really can't afford to be a DAO, at least not yet, with what you're doing. But certainly as much as that, and kind of giving that level of transparency, I think will endear you even more to the ethos of these communities, right?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely governance is part of our codes as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So we want to get the community involved as we scale up, not only on creative inputs, right? Because when we did the collaboration with the Hearts community, their community actually designed the skin, which
sweet.
is really beautiful, right?
Yeah,
they had
over
100 submissions of art and creative designs within 72 hours, So that was a learning experience. We saw the power of community design.
Sure.
So we're going to incorporate that within our community as we scale up for sure.
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, man, absolutely. As far as giving our community say within what we do, that is definitely what we have in mind.
Yeah. You can tell that too just by talking to you guys. You're not gonna be like, no, fuck you. I will do what I want. That kind of fly in the face of everything you're saying. So
we came into it because we wanted to move away from that, right? We wanted to move.
That was that world.
We wanted to come away from centralized power, basically.
Yeah.
For me, Jared, what's so exciting is, I can get a luxury good made for me from Web3, from the future that I believe in.
Right.
I don't have to go to the old world anymore for that.
Right.
And that is what made me so excited to jump into this project and give it my all. Not just because of my personal relationships, with George and the team, but just because it's such an exciting proposition to where you can have the highest quality luxury made for you on this scale that was never before possible, and it's not controlled by a legacy corp telling you what's luxury and what's good.
Yeah.
So it's really that is what gets me excited every day, waking up and pushing forward.
I agree. I agree entirely. And by the way, I want to touch on this because I know the window opens tomorrow. I don't think we've really talked about what redeeming is like. Can somebody walk through, what starts tomorrow? When does it end? What do you have to do? Because I feel like that's a PSA worth getting out.
Shawn, you want me to take on? Yes.
Yeah, I'll do it. It's very important. and George can touch on the production run, but it's very important that you redeem your physical sneaker whenever this window opens and before it closes. So it's going to open tomorrow evening.
Okay.
We haven't announced a specific time yet. Tomorrow evening, Eastern Standard Time. And then when that opens, you'll go directly to our website. There will be a form there to fill out. So if you own 5 NFTs, when you connect your wallet, all 5 will be up there.
Nice.
You can pick a size for each one. The only caveat is those will all go to one delivery address. So if you want to pass them out to your friends and family, you need to do that after the fact.
Makes sense.
That's just to do with our logistics. But you'll be able to do all of them in one go. Pick your sizing. It's in EU, US, and UK sizing. George can give you the specific sizes. Then submit. I encourage everyone to include their Discord and Twitter usernames as well as their other information. Particularly in regards to the holders that want to get the airdrops and the additional in the future. That'll help us track and make sure that the physical and NFTs are still intact with that owner. So that's a very huge point. From there, so that window is open until March 1st.
March
1st. Let me pull up my calendar here. Okay, so tomorrow night, we don't know what time until the start of the day Tuesday or through the day Tuesday.
It'll be like tomorrow night around like 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Okay. Around there. Okay. Yeah. We can say it now. 8 p.m. Eastern is fine. Okay? And then it will run until March 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
March. Okay.
Because I have to get the factory, the size run as soon as possible, right? Because they have been chasing me to get the size runs so that we can target. There's 2 things that I have to worry about, right? One is factory needs the sizes because everything is freaking bespoke, right? And made to order. Second thing is shipping logistic, guys. I mean, we're doing worldwide free shipping. We have collectors from all over the world. So we need to understand exactly, where we're shipping this to, how we're going to structure our, freight forwarders. These are all like huge topics that, we have professionals behind sorting everything out, right? So please claim your size. We'll need your email address. Obviously, we're going to have you confirm it, right? We're going to need your phone number because we need to attach that to DHL and FedEx, okay? We're going to pick, I still have to decide which courier is cheaper at the end, a corporate discount, right? Sure. Because everything costs a fortune. And then afterwards, your shipping address, okay? But we've made the interface super, super simple, okay? And I want to say one last thing.
Please.
You will be able to log back on into our Colton Rain website afterwards, and you'll be able to check the status of your order.
Oh, my God.
Okay? So, we're not messing around. Everything is really, let's say, user-friendly, okay, to ensure confidence within the community and confidence into you collectors paying a fortune for our sneakers.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And the transparency of shipping. There's some high dollar items I've bought before online, Web 2, that I literally had no idea what the hell happened to it. Where I was like, that's $2,000, and literally just showed up on my door one day. What the hell was that? No signature required, no anything. It was crazy. And you're doing more of that with Web 3, a lot more logistics. So I appreciate you taking those steps. So there's a person in the chat who's saying, $1,000 is a lot for me to justify for an NFT. Can I get the shoe? And it's funny because, one of your community members is kind of answering back and forth. $1,000 is for the pass. And he goes, well, so you get a shoe? And I think, Kevin, what I would say to you is to go back and kind of watch this. You probably came in a little bit late because you have to really understand the vision they're building here and why I'm interested in bringing them on. Because, so first off, that's a lot of money. Let's not beat around the bush, okay? It's a lot of money. You got to understand the vision and what's long term. A lot of people look at Bitcoin and say $36,000 is a lot of money, okay? But they don't get what it is, right? And they don't understand why it would be that way. So that's not the perfect example, but you need to understand what the vision is, and that's the whole point of this conversation today was. So can you buy the physical shoes? I'm sure there will be people who want to keep the NFT and sell the shoe later on. I would encourage you not to, but I'm sure there'll be avenues that just happens because the market does what the market wants. But I would say that, get on, look at the NFT, watch this conversation again. You guys have a ton of this stuff out there anyway, not just what I did, right?
Yeah, and one thing that's I want to make crystal clear, and this is just from community questions, there is no reason to not redeem your physical shoe.
Right.
I mean, it's better for us. We don't have to make it.
Hold on. We have to make it, guys.
Right.
So if you don't redeem it, we're just going to make it in an average size, probably 10 and a half. I'll probably make it. Okay. But then that becomes our marketing, let's say, shoe moving forward. So there's no reason why not to redeem it.
Every single person should redeem it. Some people are like, oh, well, if I hold it, I can redeem it later, have a token. No, it's one limited run.
Right.
And I'm going to scream this from the rooftops until March 1st. If you bought, go sign up and redeem your shoe.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
There's been other questions.
The factory's not going to make one shoe. Okay, the factory's going to make 1,500 shoes one shot. Right? That's how it works.
Yeah, and look, a lot of people, you guys have no idea logistically how difficult it is to do what they're doing on a worldwide level. Okay, like I'm not in the industry. I looked at it for 5 minutes and I was like, you guys are fucking insane. Okay, like that. I love it. I'm here for it, but that's crazy, right? Like.
This is not easy.
There's a reason why it hasn't been done before.
Yeah, and proving the model is very, very cool, and like that's why, like I said, I'm not interested, but it got me interested right away, or interested in selling. It's what got me interested in buying right away. Somebody said, "What material is the hex box made from?" Did you say that, George? Or like, what is the actual box made?
Yeah, so it's going to be recyclable plastic at that. Okay, sustainable plastic.
Sweet. Yeah, the design is. I'm going to go to it one more time.
There's going to be a whole we're going to announce all the materials, okay, and why it's sustainable. There's like a whole. Believe me, I looked at many different materials. Okay. Yeah, there's going to be a backstory behind the materials that we use.
Nice.
Just to ensure everybody that's it's recyclable. Okay, it's recyclable and it's sustainable.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think that. Again, that level, any transparency you can add is going to be amazing. Like I said, when you get over there to see stuff in production, to actually bring a film crew to take a look at it, like, oh my God, I want to see that now. Yeah. Like, will you come back on after you're done? Will you talk about it?
Man. We debated whether or not I go like last week, but we've just been, there was so many things I had to deal with.
Right.
Okay, from A to Z. As far as running the business, that we had to make sure that everything was executed to perfection. Even on the back end, I think a lot of people don't understand how fucking complicated it is to execute a mint. Really?
Yeah.
How complicated it is to execute a mint, the security that's involved, the smart contracting, especially the way we did it, where we had reveals, we had half reveals, we had airdrops. Everything's tied to the blockchain, so the fact that we executed everything to perfection is already I would say adds a lot of credibility to it.
I do. Right? And so do I. Right. And I'm not, I know, this, like, I'm not personally doubting at all. I just am trying to think, if I was sitting at home, what questions would I ask? And people don't understand what you've taken on and how big of an achievement that is, and hopefully this becomes easier with every when you do, right? The rails are built, and you can continue to collaborate and go from there. And I haven't seen it, guys. I apologize. I've been busy. Have you been putting the artists out there too? Like, have Shawn and Sophie, and have they been a part of this too? And where can people go to learn more, either from their mouths or what's the best way to learn more on that?
Go on our website. Okay. Go on our website. Click on Learn More under the artist. And it connects you to all their socials as well.
You can also go to our Medium platform.
Absolutely.
So if you coltonrain.medium.com, you'll find we've got a full explanation of all the utility and redeemables. We break it down. We make it super simple to understand. there's a ton of information about also just the journey that we've been on and our experiences and what we see and what we've felt and what we've done and the lessons learned. But you've also got, like, I've done these interviews with the artists, and they're kind of like really, I think, an interesting perspective on their personalities, their art, their focus, their interpretation, why the skins are their skins, and what's been informing them in their career. And so I think it's a really really great place to go and just learn and discover like some of the more intricate and detailed, personalities of the artists.
Yeah,
I highly recommend everyone go look at Andy's interviews with the artists. They're all amazing.
Really well, very professional.
We also had a AMA with them. I believe that recording's still on our Discord, or we had a Twitter Spaces with Shawn, Javier. He stayed up late in Spain. Sophie and Aiden and Stefan with the Harsh Project. They're on there too. Great people. Phenomenal artists, but good people.
I'm trying to drop the links in the chat right now, so people have them directly. So that's why I'm kind of going back and forth. So there's the Discord address. There's the Medium. OpenSea is pretty straightforward. I'm sure you guys have found it if you haven't already, but I'll drop that in there too to kind of go take a look, because again, it's funny. I have like this split brain of what I want. Am I a collector? Am I just trying to buy what's rare? Am I trying to buy what I like? It's like
why not both?
Well, yeah. Again, don't tell my wife about 3. You know what I mean? Like, that was not the plan when I got in there. I just couldn't stop. Okay, that's how that thing goes. So yeah, very, very good stuff there. Let's see. It looks like is that Instagram too? You guys got Instagram?
We do.
Okay,
yes, we do.
Instagram as well. So I'll drop those in. What other questions? Anybody from the chat? Obviously, we've had a ton of people in and out here, and I'm sure they'll get a ton of views post after I pull this together. But any other questions, guys? Please drop them in. And anything else, like, I always try to direct the conversation as best I can. And you did a great job coming over the top to say, look, this is what you need to know. What else do people need to know, guys?
Like that right now, priority 1 is just getting the sneakers redeemed. I just want to get everyone redeemed. And also another crucial aspect during this redemption window, if you're buying our NFTs on OpenSea, you need to go to our website and ensure that it has not been redeemed yet.
Oh,
this is very, very important, guys. So from Friday until March 1st, you can still pick them up and you can still get physical shoes, but you have to check. We're gonna update our OpenSea description with that on both sides.
It's a great point.
We're gonna put that all over Twitter. We're gonna put it all over Discord. So it's crucial that you tune in to all Colton Rain communication channels and check that token ID.
It'll say redeem. It'll say redeemed on our website, and it'll say redeemed, right, or claimed. That's the verbiage we're using. Claimed on our website, and also claimed on OpenSea.
Nice.
And OpenSea, you have to refresh the metadata, and so you cannot rely on OpenSea 100%.
Sure.
Depending on them. But on our website, it will be immediate. So then you'll be assured, and you can purchase. Very important.
That makes a lot of sense.
I would say that one of the things I'd like to leave this with is this isn't a project. There's no plan B. Like, we only have plan A.
Right.
We're building a luxury fashion business born from Web3. This is just the beginning. And for us, this is, we've left our traditional corporate backgrounds behind in order to create something new. And so, for us, that's really important that, we have a vision for the brand. We have a vision of where we want it to be in a year and 2 years. We know the steps. We now have the blueprint, the process for, to mint. We all went through the tumble dryer and popped out the other side knowing a hell of a lot more than when we went in. And for me, it's really important that the community, we continue to build trust. Yeah. We continue to, deliver on what we promise. We continue to put the community first, and we continue to kind of inspire and be aspirational for our collectors, for our communities, for our fans, for our family. And so that's my big message is, this isn't this isn't a project. Projects tend to be singular and, in isolation, but we're just getting started. We're just cooking this thing up. Like, we have so many brilliant ideas, not just in sneakers, but also in apparel. And we're trying to do this in the right way, and we're trying to do this in our way, and we're trying to do this in a way that makes sense for Colton Rain.
Sure.
And we'll just continue to do our best, and we'll continue to be honest and transparent. Nothing's off the table, because those are all the things that we left behind and we value more than anything else.
Yeah, that's a great overview, and I appreciate that. And I think a lot of people can get behind that too. And again, separated, not a project. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to do it. And then about what comes next, we had a good question come in the chat. Do you have any plans to take part in different fashion events as we're moving to George? I don't know if you want to touch on that, or Andy. I don't know who that would be under.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, absolutely. Now, there's, again, two aspects of fashion events, right? So there are Metaverse fashion shows, okay, different players we're talking to right now. And there are also physical fashion shows, right? Like New York Fashion Week, for example, that we're also planning for, let's say. Cool. Okay, so the answer is yes on both fronts. And that's the beauty of Colton Rain, is, again, that we can toggle between both universes, right? Real world and meta. So yes, the answer is yes. We're working on it. I think Andy summed it up brilliantly. We're building a brand. Okay, it's a proper luxury fashion brand.
Yeah.
And this is not a pump and dump. This is not a speculative project. Right. This is not, this is built by professionals with executives that have a lot of experience across many different aspects of our business. And it's going to take time. Okay, there's no there's no crystal ball, there's no magic formula. We've learned a lot from our general mint. We're going to continue to push forward. We're pushing on a badass drop 1, a badass drop 2, okay, to ensure that we keep, let's say, scaling.
Yeah.
Okay, we keep bringing excitement to the brand, and we will scale up into different categories. So I think that'll be a nice surprise for a lot of our collectors. Okay, but we're not leaving sneakers behind. Sneakers is our bread and our butter.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's special. That's cool to see. A ton of people from around the world also saying hi. Let's effing go. Love from Taiwan. You guys obviously have a global audience, which I don't envy your logistical managers, but it's a cool thing. And really, my kind of closing thoughts on this, or this isn't really the type of stuff we talk about, but groundbreaking is what we do talk about. And I like to be early to things. And the reason why I say early is when these shoes hit, there's going to be a tsunami when they hit people's doorsteps. And I am so excited for that to happen, of like, holy shit. And what happens when things are
going to be a special day.
It's going to be so much fun. And I'm so ready for that tidal wave. Because the fun in this whole space is learning, is doing something new. And I wish you guys the absolute best of luck. And obviously I'll be a supporter and fan from here moving forward.
Thank you, brother. Love it, man.
Thanks for inviting us. It's been an honor. It's a pleasure. We're grateful, to be able to talk about the project. Thank you so much.
Of course.
It's great following you for so long and now having you as a friend, man. Web3, man. I love it.
It's so good. Yeah, connecting people
around
the world.
Thank everybody for tuning in, our lovely community as well, right? We're going to keep pushing, guys. So
I love it.
Let's go.
I love it. All right, so guys, for those of you like George, Andy, and Shawn, I'm going to end everything. I need you to hold on for 1 second before you sign off. I know we've gone a little bit long here, but again, thank you. Go check it out, coltonrain.com, and I'll put out the edited version as soon as I can. It just takes me a day or two to put it out, and I'll send that to you guys as well. So take care. Everybody stay safe out there, and we'll talk again soon, all right?